Right, you want to go to the next slide, Mark? Now start. So hi guys, thanks for joining today. As Lindsay said, we're from Merck Irvine. So we'll just do a wee quick introduction. So my name's Mandy Smith and I'm the Operations Training and Development Coordinator over at the Merck site.
I'm Stephen Doherty. I'm a Product Engineering Specialist and Coordinator of the Social Wellness team at the Merck site as well.
And I'm Mark Rooney. I'm a Project Operator for Merck and I just work for the kind of filming side and digital side.
So we're just going to give you a wee bit of insight into our student lives and kind of what our degrees in and things. So for myself, I have an honours degree in biomedical science, which I got from UWS. I came to the uni as a mature student, having done my HNC, HND at Ayrshire College. And in my third year, I took part in a work placement, which seen me going and working with the science technicians at the local academy. And I also took part in the UWS Employer Mentor Programme, which gave me a great insight and got me matched up with someone who actually worked in the science industry, who helped me with career tips, CV, mock interviews and things. And now I'm part of the UWS Employer Mentor Scheme again, but this time as a mentor for one of the students at UWS just now.
So I'm Stephen, obviously I said Stephen Doherty. I went to UWS as well. And it is an honoured degree in biomedical science. I took the long route. I didn't have the qualifications when I left school, so I did the NC, the HNC, HND, and then second, third, and fourth year. So I did. That's my story. Mark.
Yep, I also went to UWS. I took a kind of long route as well. I did an NQ in college, and then went to UWS and graduated in 2018 with an honours in biomedical science as well. So yeah, we were all in the same class.
So since graduating, I graduated in 2017 and in 2018, I got a job with Merck working in the production department for dry powder media. So I started off as a production technician working in the filling department. And I did that job for just over 2 years before moving on to become the material handler for the operations side of it, where I worked with making sure we had the right chemicals in, dealing with any stock issues, and just genuinely making sure that everything was running smoothly in respect to the materials on site. Then last year, I was given the role of Operations Training Coordinator, and since then I now manage the training of all new starts and current staff that we have on site. I work with them on quality training, actual on-the-job training, systems training, as well as doing all the onboarding for new starts, which we've been getting a lot of recently. So it's been very busy.
So when I left university, I went to work for a company called Thermo Fisher, and I made DNA oligos. I worked in a lab, and that's when I started my professional life as such. So I learned the staples, and then I had my children. So I thought I better move closer to home. So I moved over to Merck and I started working as a formulator, which was generally just weighing the chemicals which were going into all the batches. Then after a while, I think it was about a year and a bit, I moved on to a more coordinator role where I actually worked alongside Mandy and I learned a lot more of the computer system side of things. And then now I moved on to a product engineering specialist where my job is to see the products that are coming in from the customers, and you have to look at the formulation and work out the order of loading to make sure it's safe and it's feasible.
Well, after graduating, the first job that I had in the industry was with Merck. So I joined Merck in 2020 as also a formulator. So same as Stephen, I was making the products that we are then selling and actually working with the chemicals there. After about just under a year of working there, they realized that I was able to kind of go into the digital side and actually work with film technology to work on training documents, training videos, and work with what's called VSM so that we can use videos to highlight different things that could be improved on site and then implement them. So from there, I became a project operator. So a little thing about what Merck is. Sorry, was there a question there? That messed up. Oh.
Okay, if you don't mind, please put the mute on when the presenters are speaking, and if you do have any comments or questions, just put them in the chat just now, thanks.
So Merck as a whole is a global company. We work in 66 different countries with over 56,000 employees, which that number is constantly growing. And we kind of focus in three main sectors, which is technology and digital kind of electronics, life science and healthcare. But for more specifically what we do in our site, I'll pass you to Stephen.
Yeah, so if you decide you want to work for Irvine site, there's various different areas you can work. We've got the warehouse, we've got planning, we've got purchasing, we've got the global designs team, and then we've got the actual production side, which is split into two. So it's dry powder media and it's liquid media. And the difference between these is just the companies will pay us to hydrate the chemicals, or the produce, sorry. Now, the facility itself has got a purified water plant, which distributes water around the loop, and this is European and US pharmacopeia, grade standard. Now, every day, this is actually causes the liquid side to go offline for a couple of hours so that the loop can get replenished and sterile. Now, at the site, within DPM and liquid, we make cell culture media and buffers, and these are split into two. They're upstream processes, and this is which the biological materials are inoculated and they're grown in the culture and manufacturing certain types of products. And then we've got the downstream, in which these products are harvested, tested, purified, and packaged. Now, within the site, we use a very broad range of processes, but one that's more commonly used in other companies is HTST. So this is high temperature, short time. And it's when a product goes into a loop and it's rapidly heated up for about 15 seconds, and then it's rapidly cooled down again. Now, this is used in breweries, it's used in milk, and it's used in fruit juice production. All the processes on site, they're under controlled conditions where we record the humidity, the temperature, and the pressure. Now, everything is signed, time signed, and signed for the operator and the date. And this is so that we can see where things have went wrong and what machine it was used. And it's just so we can look back and then see how we can improve on that. Now, for the products from the Irvine side alone, we were involved in over 50 different COVID vaccine trials, and we're using all the major approved vaccines just now. Now, when you go and get a COVID test, you get the swab, you do your test, and you put it in a little bit of liquid. That is a liquid that we produce on site. So the products do make a massive difference in the world. And for that reason, we have sister sites in Lenexa, which make powder, and then in Broadway, which is also in America, which make liquid side of things. Now, they are needed to be there, as are we, and that is because the products are so high value and so high important. It means that if there's a natural disaster, say a hurricane or whatnot, and one of these sites go down, it means that we can pick up the supply and distribute it around the world. Now, the company itself, very stable, and it's always grown. And an example of this is within the dry powder side, last year, the produce went up 70% from the year alone. So it's nearly doubled within a year. If we go into the departments with DPM, if you do decide to go work there and you're curious, you'll be split into three different areas. It will be formulation, milling, and filling. The formulation is when you weigh out the chemicals and you'll package it, you'll move it over to the milling side, and this will go in something called an IBC, which big container, and it will spin, make sure everything is mixed evenly, and then you'll go to filling, where it will be packaged into bottles or bags, depending on what is required from the customer. If you go to the liquid side of things, it starts the same, it's formulation, and then you go to a filling area where water will be added. Now, this will be filtered through two different filters, so it's sterile, and then it will be dispensed in a clean room condition, and it'll be, again, be put into bottles or bags, depending on what the customer wants. And then this will be passed through to the warehouse, and then they go to the logistics side of things, and they'll ship it. All the different chemicals, they can be dangerous, so there is certain containers which need to be hazard proof, and they can only ship to certain countries within certain conditions. And that's everything for the site. But again, if there's any questions about this, feel free to ask.
So as Stephen just rightly pointed out there, the demand, especially for powder cell culture media, is growing. So in turn, that's good news for our site because we are continuously growing at the moment. We recently just held 2 recruitment days where people could come, find out about the site and actually interview on the day for jobs with ourselves. And after initial, where we thought we would have about 100 people over the 2 days, we ended up with over 600 people turning up. So we got a good few candidates that will be joining the site soon. But we are still growing, and production is not the only type of jobs that we have on site. As you can see, we all have a wide range of jobs now compared to from the production ones that we started in. So on site, we have a quality team, which includes quality control, who test the products and make sure we have no contamination before these are sent out to our customers. We also have a quality assurance department who make sure all our paperwork and everything we do is in line with GMP standards. And there is also a validation team who look at all the different processes that we do and validate them to make sure that we're doing them the right way. We also have 2 warehouses on site, which are always looking for extra staff. And we also have a supply chain department who include our purchasing departments and our planning, who plan out our schedules and what batches that we're going to be doing from week to week. Part of the Merc thing is that we want to be the vibrant science and technology company, and you'll see that by everything we do is very brightly coloured and very young, modern looking. And we are always looking for curious talents who can help us with our goal of providing the best science products to customers around the world. So I don't know what kind of levels you are at the moment, but if there's anybody that's graduating soon that would be interested in a career in Merck, our recruitment specialist, William Bowler, has given us his email address. So feel free if you would like to reach out and maybe just discuss what kind of options there would be there for you. As I say, over the next year, we were looking to get over 50 people on site just for this year, but the expansion plan is for over the next few years. It's going to be growing rapidly. So we would definitely love to hear from you if you would like to join us.
I just jump in there, Mandy, as well.
Yep.
Just to add that the company is very keen on training the staff and wants to keep the staff in the company. So you can start in one position and you can find an area which you like within the company, and the company will help you transition into that. So it's keep all the options open, and it's just like the 3 of us done. We've moved into different areas.
Exactly, all 3 of us did.
Yeah, and as part of that kind of growing as well, we've also just putting into place, it'll be starting next month, the Merck Irvine Learning Academy, which is going to be a dedicated space to training people, onboarding them, upskilling people, reskilling people, just as the times change and things. So that's an exciting part that's going to be on site over the next few months for ourselves, of getting people on stage. They're even looking at having virtual reality type training. So it's just going to be huge over the next few years. And it's a really exciting time to be a part of the science industry.
Let me jump ahead here. So I've got a couple of things noted, which I think is worth knowing. So if you want to work for any life science or pharmaceutical company, get into your head about SOPs. You will be asked a question about this in any interviews. So standard operating procedures, get a baseline answer for this, and then you can follow up on the questions and build upon it. It's so easy. Just Google the importance of these. It can be found very easily. Also, your CGMP and CGDP. I got caught out in an interview one time because I didn't know what the small c meant. So it's just current. So current good manufacturing practices. Sounds so simple, but that's what done me in. And again, understand what the importance of these. I've wrote down about how the importance about the documentation practices is that you can look back and see what machine was used, when it was used, and the operator. And it takes me on to my next point. Within the company, if you make a mistake, and this is the same with all the big companies, if you make a mistake, do not try and cover it up. Just recognize the mistake, tell your line manager, and then you move on from there. Merck has a no blame culture. So say if I made a mistake myself, which I have done, you will go say to your line manager, I've made a mistake, and then we'll look back what machine was used, what went wrong, and we will say, okay, was that a training issue or was it a process issue? And then we'll move forward from there. The idea is to get better, and it's not what mistakes are made, it's how you react to them. So within the companies, there will be different teams. I highly recommend you get involved in them, because if you're working in, say, a QC environment or a production environment, it is very repetitive. So it is, you enjoy your job, but it is very repetitive. So it's good to get involved in these teams. It will spice up the week. The companies will allow you, they will adapt the work to accompany this. You don't need to do extra work as such. And as well as that, it gives you exposure to all different departments and personnel. So I highly recommend, me, myself, Mark and Mandy have done that within the company. It gets you known around the company.
In respect to that, on Merck alone, we have a health and safety team called Shields, which means Stephen are a part of. We have a social and wellbeing awareness team who deal with charity and things, and social kind of aspects of Merck life. And we also have a women in leadership team, which I'm a member of, which encourages women who are already in leadership or women that would like to work towards leadership to be able to network. And that's like a global kind of team. So you could be speaking to people all over the world. So there's a lot going on, not just your own job, as well as projects as well. We're always getting involved in lots of projects on the site to help make the site a bit better.
The company does a objectives target. So at the start of the year, you will sit down and you look at your goals for the year, and this will be work related, but within the team I'm in, they will do what do you want to achieve out with your role. So that can be just something out like within the company still, but out with your job role. So it can be mental health first aid trained, or first aid trained, or if you want to be better at public speaking or train in a different area, you just say to your line manager what you fancy and they'll say how you can accommodate that. It takes me on to my next point, is ask the questions. Now, when I was at university, I didn't take the opportunity as I should have, because it was a massive opportunity. And there was actually something in the class that used to ask questions all the time. And it did used to annoy me back in the day. Yeah. But since I've left and I've been grown as a person, I've understood the importance of it. So such a small thing, like finding an email address on Google, go to the websites of these companies, see who work there, send them a message, ask what's so good about your job, how do you like it, how can I get in there, is there any shadowing opportunities. A small 2-second convo doesn't cause a pain to the person you're asking, and it goes a massive difference. It goes a massive way to it. I've also noted here 3 more things. Sorry. A lot can change in 6 months. So when you start your professional careers, do not feel like you are below anyone. You will start, you will be trained, and then once you are all trained, then you're on the same level. The only thing that differentiates you from them is your attitude, and you will see a lot changes in 6 months. So do not let MD look down on you or feel you are beneath them. And celebrate the wins. Everybody's going to be degree educated. You're going to get opportunities to attend different courses, which the general public will not get to go on. When you complete these, even if it feels small to you, just celebrate it. You get a bonus at work, just celebrate it. Everything you do, you can celebrate that win because you have earned it. It might seem insignificant, but it will be amazing for people looking on. And the last one is get a LinkedIn account. That's something I've done. And again, this is a free opportunity to look at people within the industry. You can see their skill sets, and you can even have the opportunity to direct message them, and you can ask them. So you can send them a request, and you can put in the tagline, "Hi, I'm looking to get in the industry. Please accept my request." Blah blah blah. It's a very free opportunity to do so. And there is various websites. I can send them on if somebody sends me an email after this. There is a website. I do not know off the top of my head, but it is all the life science companies in Scotland or manufacturing companies, and it will give you contact details for them. And that's me. On to you, Mark.
Yeah, well, I don't have nearly as many tips as Stephen does, but I would say one of the major things to look at, and it's something that really helped me, especially with this job, is really focus on your academia as you're going through this, but take a focus into the other things that you're doing, because you'd be amazed what additional skills you're picking up throughout uni that's going to help you in careers later. The example being like the position I'm in right now. When I was applying for the operator position, I was applying for Formulator, I mentioned that I did filmmaking, that I'd worked with a couple of companies for advertising. That immediately made me stand out in that kind of hiring pool, because I had all the same skills as everyone else, but I just had that one extra skill. So have a look at the skills that you specifically have and find a way that you can incorporate that, and try and find a way that you can maybe develop that to make you stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, the one to add as well, Mark, you know us, Mandy, you know it, same as me. With these companies that you go to, the jobs aren't just black and white. You can see an opening within the company or something that can be better to progress, and you can suggest it, and there can be jobs that are created purely for you for this situation. another random one I thought I would just add, because the life science companies love it. If you have an interview, try and use the word contemporaneously. They love that. It sounds so silly, but it is something that they will love. And it just means you have added the data or signed it at the time you've done it.
Yeah, and following on from just what Mark said, like one of the big things that I always say to people is everything you do is a transferable skill. So if you're in a waitressing job or anything at the moment and you think that's not relevant to what I want to do, you're working in extremely high pressure environments. You are working to deadlines because you need to get that food out. Everything that you do is transferable.
Yeah.
When I went to Merck, I had worked in social work for admin before that. And again, I was able to push the fact that like I was working to deadlines just like Merck were, but my deadlines were set by law. So I couldn't miss the deadlines. So that was one thing that then helped me in my interview, was they knew that I was going to be able to work to certain deadlines. So don't ever just think because you're not in the correct environment at the moment working, everything you do is a transferable skill. And I will also just back up Stephen's thing about LinkedIn. When I was at university, I was told to get a LinkedIn and it was about networking, and I didn't believe it. I didn't think that was what it was going to be. I just thought it wouldn't be worth it. But now that I've actually started paying more attention to it, it's opened up so many more opportunities to me. I've even had companies contact me about jobs. I've met so many people through it. And so I would definitely promote getting yourself a LinkedIn and using it to its full advantage.
With what Mandy said about transferable skills, when I was mentioning SOPs, that can be anything from if you've worked in McDonald's or Domino's, you've followed an SOP. There's a procedure for making the burgers or making the pizzas. Say that when you get an interview. Do not say, oh, I've had no experience. Say that. If you've signed anything out, you sign in to clock in for your shift, you sign stuff out, you're following the documentational practices. Just pick up everything you do and just say it with confidence, because it is true.
It's amazing how much you can do this, and it's amazing how much you can. It doesn't even sound fake. It's like what you are doing is actually transferable, and it is quite impressive. But a lot of the times we tend to just look at it and go, oh, well, I just did this. And it's the same way that like when I did my first video, I did it with an escape room. And I thought to myself, well, this is just a random video that I've done with an escape room. That's not going to help me in any way. And it's obviously quite a specific skill.
You'll notice that a lot of these companies, including Merck, it's not so much fully the knowledge you are learning. It is how you learn it as such. It's your thought process. That's what I'm looking for. That's why they like degree educated students. Is there any questions that we've got?